Guys, Griffin here with yet another video about Season of Discovery, and today I want to talk to you about what I think the first rune everyone will get in Season of Discovery. So it kind of was hinted that we get a rune very early on. The one they showed for an example, I'll hopefully put up on the screen wherever the screen is over there. I will put up the example they gave, which is for the Paladin. They gave the Paladin Crusader Strike, which made a ton of sense. So I was thinking about this a lot, and it was a hand rune, so I was thinking they're probably going to stick with hand for most of these, though one of them I hope it's not hand because it absolutely sucks if it is, but it probably is. So we're going to go with hand, and the idea of these runes early is to help you be better at your class, and I think it's going to be an active ability, not a passive. There are a lot of passive abilities. I think the ability they're going to give you early on is going to be an active one, help you feel more active, like to pressing more buttons really early on, and will just help you just pump. So I'm going to stay away from healing spells. I'm going to stay away from anything that says like your something will now do this or that. It's just going to be a new ability, or a new ability essentially is what it is. So I'm going to go down the list and kind of go right in order and talk about each one and why I think it is what it is. So we're going to start off with Druid. And the first one in the hands one, I think it has to be Sunfire. And I'm going to explain really quick why. Mainly because Wild Growth is a heal. Mangle and Lacerate require a form. You don't get forms until 10. The only thing you can do until 10 is cast spells. So they're probably going to give you Sunfire, which kind of sucks because you get Moonfire at like 4. So cool. You've got 2 of them. I guess that's... honestly, I don't know what this spell does. I did a video on it. Check it out. This thing's a riddle. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so druids are likely going to get Sunfire at level 2-ish, which is when I think you're going to start getting your abilities very early on. Okay, so now we've got Hunter, and Hunter, I think, again, in hands, I think it's going to be Explosive Shot. Now, it could possibly be Carve, but I don't think they're going to give you an AoE that easy, or that early, though it would be pretty sweet if it was Carve. Explosive Shot, you fire an explosive charge into the enemy target, dealing 74 to 91 fire damage. The charge will blast the target every second for initial, though it's essentially a damage over time spell that will kind of couple really well with your other abilities, though it does share a cooldown with Arcane Shot, which is one of your first spells. This is the reason I think it might be Carve, sorry, just because Explosive Shot is kind of taking the shine away from Arcane Shot. So if it was Carve, a sweeping attack that strikes all enemies in front of you for 50% weapon damage, this is Blizzard encouraging you very early on to consider melee hunters. I think that's pretty cool. I don't think it'll be Beast Mastery. You don't have a pet until 10, and Chimera Shot relies way too many on other abilities to make any sense at this early level. Okay, let's just keep moving on and go to Mage. Mage, if we stick in this particular section, you have Arcane Blast, Ice Lance, Living Bomb, and Rewind Time. I don't think you're going to get Rewind Time, not that early. I think that's like one of your big ones. So they're going to probably bury that pretty hard in the runes. Living Bomb, Ice Lance, and Arcane Blast all make sense. I think it's going to be Arcane Blast, and the reason I think it is because when you are a mage in Classic, you get your Frost spell first. That's right. Then you get fire. Either way, you get them both very early. And then you get your arcane missiles that everyone just doesn't even put on their bar because it's just not worth it. You just deal with fire and frost. I think this is Blizzard's opportunity to push arcane because the healing aspect of the mage is going to be an arcane healer. So I think they're trying to get you into the mindset of what it would be like to be an arcane DPS early on. Though Ice Lance and Living Bomb seem like okay. I don't think they're gonna do Living Bomb because it's a little bit too much for early level. Ice Lance would be great, except you need to be frozen to have frozen targets. You don't get Nova till I think 10 or 12. So Arcane Blast makes the most sense anyway. Okay, let's move on to Paladin. We already know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be Crusader Strike because they kind of leaked it, though they did show the quest and then separately show Crusader Strike. So technically it could be a different thing and they're just messing with us, but I think Crusader Strike does make a lot of sense early on. It's going to actually allow you to not just press the white damage button, because Paladin was really slow to level in the starting, and I think Crusader Strike is a good fix for that. Plus Beacon of Light's healing and Hand of Reckoning's tanking. Probably makes sense to go Crusader Strike. Okay, moving on to Priest. I think we're going to get, this might be the exception to the rule, tell me if I'm wrong. Penance launches a volley of holy light at the target, causes 64 holy damage to an enemy or 171 healing to an ally instantly every 1 second for 2 seconds. I know I said no healing, but Shadow Word Death doesn't make sense in my opinion, just because you could kill yourself on accident, even though at that low level it's gonna be pretty hard to do. But I don't think they're gonna put that in as an early one. I think that's a bigger one for later. Mind Seer does make sense, but it's an AoE, and I don't think they're throwing AoE out at like the level 2 area, and then Circle of Healing is just a heal. I think Penance makes the most sense for a priest. All right, moving along to Rogue. I put way too much effort into this. I could not remember if Rogue got dual wield instantly or if it was a later learned skill. I actually had to level a Rogue to then travel, whatever. I figured out you get it at level 10, dual wield, which means a lot of these won't work at low level anyway. So main Gauche doesn't work because offhand, plus it's not going to be that one. Mutilate, which I thought was a pretty good one, it requires both weapons, so not going to be useful at low level. Saber Slash, viciously slash an enemy for 130% weapon damage and cause a target to bleed for 11 damage every 2 seconds for 12 seconds, stacking up to 3 times, award 1 combo point. Saber Slash benefits from all talents and effects. The trigger from modify Sinister Strike. I think this is going to be the play. I know it does kind of replace Sinister Strike, but I do think this might be it because it's a damage with bleed. And I think that's a good starting thing for a rogue to have. They can hit and run. Now, the alternative, because I do have an alternative for this, is Shadow Strike. Teleport behind the target and strike, causing 150% weapon damage to the target. Must be stealth. Now, stealth you get at level 2, so it's not crazy to think that they'd expect you to have stealth, but I don't think it's going to be this because I think this is one of your bigger abilities, so they're going to like save this. And then of course Shiv requires your offhand. You don't have one yet, so I'm guessing Saber Slash, but it could be Shadow Strike, but my money's on Saber Slash. And we're going to go into Shaman. This is going to be Lava Burst. As much as Lava Lash would be more fun, you can't dual wield until you get the other one, so Lava Burst is the casting. And it's really cool because if you get Flame Shock on the target, Lava Burst will deal a critical strike. You don't get Flame Shock right away, you get Earth Strike first, I think. Earth Shock first, then Flame Shock. So this might be like a level 4 ability or 6 ability that you get later, so this might be chill, but I don't think they're going to give you the Molten Blast, the AoE. I don't think they're going to give you the Water Shield, though if they did give Water Shield, I don't think any Shaman would be mad because the Water Shield is absolutely broken. You do get Lightning Shield pretty early on, and it would be really cool if they gave you this instead. So though I think it's going to be Lava Burst, Water Shield would be pretty dope. All right. Warlock. Oh man, this was actually one of the tougher ones. So Chaos Bolt and Haunt are both candidates for this. Chaos Bolt sends a bolt of chaotic fire at the enemy, dealing 225 to 286 fire damage. Chaos Bolt always hits, cannot be resisted, and its knowledge causes all your fire spells to pierce through absorption effects. Most of that stuff is like endgame kind of concern, but the main idea is Chaos Bolt is the Shadow Bolt of fire. The Fire Shadow Bolt, whatever. It seems like a good fit, even though you've got Shadow Bolt. It doesn't make sense to get both, but I mean, they're doing the same thing with Druids and Moonfire, Sunfire, so who knows. The alternative would be Haunt, unleash a ghostly soul on an enemy, dealing 108 to 127 damage, and increasing all shadow damage over time you deal that target by 20%. When Haunt ends or is dispelled, you'll be healed. This one actually seems perfect for low level leveling, so I think Haunt is going to be it, but it could be Chaos Bolt. It's definitely not Metamorphosis. They've actually said very clearly this is a very complicated quest to unlock. Or like rune to unlock, and Shadow Bolt Volley, your AoE, you're not going to get it, so it's probably going to be Haunt, but it could be Chaos Bolt. And finally, Warrior. This one could be 2 as well. So there's 2 choices, I think. Quick Strike, a reckless instant melee attack with your 2-handed weapon, dealing 50 to 83 physical damage. This ability benefits from and triggers all effects associated with Heroic Strike. Okay, Quick Strike sounds good as a candidate. However, because it requires a 2-handed weapon, I don't think it makes sense, because I think, do not quote me on this, I think warriors start with a sword and shield or something in shield. Don't know 100%, maybe I'm wrong. But regardless, I just don't think they would give you an ability that can only let you use a 2-handed weapon when you maybe you want to play with a shield, and they limited you to only using a 2-handed weapon. though it does feel good. Plus, on top of that, it kind of overrides Heroic Strike, one of your first abilities. I don't think that makes sense. Instead, I think Victory Rush, which you do get early in later expansions, makes a ton of sense. You instantly attack the target, causing 151 damage and healing you for 10% of your maximum health. Only usable within 20 seconds after you kill an enemy. If you never used it before, essentially every time you kill something, this thing pops up, and then you can use it, and if you hit hard enough, you kill that guy, and then you kill that guy, and it's Victory Rush is the right title. It's so fun, especially if you're using it with like charge. You're like killing it, charging, killing it, charging, but you won't get like the super overpowered charge until later. But I think Victory Rush is what it is. Anyway, guys, so just really quick recap of what I think it's going to be: Sunfire, Explosive Shot, Arcane Blast, Crusader Strike, Penance, Saber Slash, Lava Burst, Haunt, and Victory Rush. Do you guys think I'm right? I'm obviously just guessing here. Let me know in the comments if you think I missed one. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, take care.